What's good, boys? Alright, so today's video, I'm not gonna lie to you, is heavily inspired by, I forgot what it's called, but the Spider-Man movie that just came out, right? Into the I don't know. Okay. Yo, for those of you that watched that movie was crazy. Fantastic visuals. And you're probably wondering, oh, look at this guy. He's on self-improvement, but he's watching a video. He did a no-no. And I'm going to talk about something, scarcity concept later on, and explain that thought process that a lot of you have. Hold up, let me make sure this doesn't get blown away by the wind. Explain that thought process that a lot of you have about, doing bad habits on self-improvement and things like that. But that's for another video that's going to be done later this week. But as of right now, I want to talk about these characters that we have, and this is basically in addition to my use them as inspiration video. And a lot of you probably haven't watched that, and I've gotten a lot more people as a part of the brotherhood now, so I'm gonna go a little bit into that. My philosophy is basically that a lot of self-improvement YouTubers will say that these characters are made to make you feel better, right? They're the heroes of their own stories and things like that, but I like to think that we're the heroes of our own stories too, right? And I don't care how cringy or how, not grown up that sounds. I just don't care, because a lot of people, frankly, are living shitty lives that they don't even really like or care about, and are going into jobs that they don't like because of what status and money. And yes, those things are important, maybe to a degree in the real world, and even then, some would argue that they're not at all, right? Even then, bro, hold up, the wind is crazy. Even then, right, it's like, why aren't we trying to use these characters as inspiration, right? Like, we grew up with these characters, bro. Like, I don't know about y'all, but if you're anything like me, right, I mentioned the Spider-Verse movie. Like, I've grown up with Spider-Man. I grew up with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I'm 20, right? And so, born in 2002, I grew up with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and I don't know, something, when you're a kid, bro, it's just, like, it lights up your soul seeing something like that, right? It's just so nice. It's just so fun. And a lot of these people will convince you, that doesn't happen in real life and stuff like that. And that's fair, right? We know superpowers aren't real, stuff like that and all that. But I think it's more about their character and what they represent, because that is something that you can replicate in the real world. And I'm a very fond believer in that. Right? So the point is to use a lot of these characters as inspiration. Don't be hurt. Bro, I watched Transformers earlier this week too. Rise of the Beasts, right? Whatever it's called, something like that. Whichever one has the beasts in it, right? And yeah, I found it to be very, very inspirational. It's like the Optimus Prime I grew up with, basically. Of course, it was the Bayverse Optimus Prime that I grew up with, older movies and stuff. But Optimus Prime as a character is someone who I watched and grew up with as a child, right? So to see that character over and over again, and like his humbleness, but he's strong, he's a leader, and then Spider-Man, like his humorous aspect of Spider-Man, and like his heroism and things like that really inspires us young kids when all of us were kids. And I think people think it's cringe to think they should inspire us now as adults and stuff. It's like, yeah, you should probably grow up and realize that you can't have the superpowers and things like that, of course. But I don't think you should stop using them as inspirations whatsoever. And people say that shit's childish. It's like, bro, come on. Like, you're trying too hard to be like this grown up and shit. Like, I don't understand that. Like, if it helps you in your mindset and it really helps you try becoming a better person, then so be it. Like, understand this, right? I haven't had a lot of good inspirations in my life, period. Right? And this is going to be a very, very controversial topic, but like in some instances my father has been a very, very great example for me. In other instances, not so much. And I'm not saying it's his lack of anything or same with my mother, lack of anything, or same with my friends, or same with like role models in my life. It's not like they're necessarily bad for that, or I'm demonizing them. No, 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 no. They provided everything they can so far. Yes, they make mistakes. Yes, we don't necessarily have the best, relationship and stuff, and we can all work on that as human beings. But, you know, when a man has nowhere to look for who to grow up as and what to become, and like you're so lost, and no one's trying to lead you the right way. The only thing you have are these characters, bro. If you're anything like me, that's all you had, pretty much. You looked up to these characters and now you think they're childish. You try to cut them off because people told you, oh, it's childish, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. It's like, I'm sick of hearing that shit, bro. Bring this back. They're there to inspire you for a reason. But again, don't fall into the trap of not taking action after it. They should be someone that enlivens you because they're someone that's living their purpose, right? And you might say, well, being a superhero would be very cool. Like living that through your purpose would be cool, but I'm stuck with the real world, and the real world isn't as cool and shit. It's like, no, it can be. It really can be. It isn't that way because you're not really then living your purpose or doing what it is that you like to do, because I'm doing it right now and I feel like a damn hero doing it. I don't care if it's for 400 people that I'm influencing over like the thousands and the millions of people that watch Spider-Man, and Spider-Man has like influenced over them, or like some I don't know, Kim Kardashian or something has influence over them and things like that. Like you have a big responsibility as someone like that to be an inspiration, to be like a role model to people. And I think these characters, depending on who you look up to, do a fantastic job of that, and you should keep doing that. You should keep looking up to them for that reason, because they have character traits, quality traits that match a lot of what values might have been imposed upon you as a child. But when you're a child and they're imposed upon you, they didn't seem very, I don't know, appealing, because first of all, the people around you didn't set the right example. So you're like, if you're not going to do what you're saying, then why the hell should I, right? And that's fair enough. And then it's also like you just don't see it. It's almost like everybody's trying to talk it and be it, but like these characters, you see them doing that. You see them being that, And you see them trying to be heroic. And, you always hear that cliche quote of like, you don't need a cape to be a hero. And I think that's very true. I think that's very, very true. And you might say, well, that's a very, very optimistic / childish way to look at things, Shay. It's like, no, I don't think so, bro. I don't think so, because it is from that childlike curiosity, from that childlike spirit of like wanting to know more and wanting to be almost better and not letting that part of yourself die, that has allowed a lot of great folk, like people we consider legends, to have rised and actually like be renowned and known for something, A lot of them. So I encourage you to use these characters as inspiration. Now, don't use them as an excuse to indulge in instant gratification, because you would be making the self. Oh my gosh, hold up. The wind is crazy right now, y'all. You would be the self-improvement YouTubers would be right to say that you would be, indulging in crazy instant gratification if all you're doing is watching these superhero movies, or all you're doing is watching motivational videos. Because in some sense, it's like watching motivational videos. But why do I think motivational videos are actually good compared to most self-improvement YouTubers? It's because, okay, I can distinguish the line between, okay, don't overconsume to the point where you're not doing anything but making yourself feel productive. There's a difference between feeling productive, and then there's the distinction between being productive. Those motivational videos brought me into reality and made me think, okay, like if I surround my consciousness enough with these kinds of people and their voices and the way they talk, the way they speak, what they're saying, then I can literally embody that and become that. And I did that enough, but I also took action. That is the difference. A lot of you don't take action. You stay busy watching these videos and doing that stuff, but you never actually end up taking action. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And watching motivational videos, or especially watching movies, especially with like family members and things like that. Sometimes we're on self-improvement. This is another point. This is a whole nother thing too, which I'll explain in a in a scarcity video that I'm trying to make. And I'm not exactly telling you what it is. Like the theme of it would be scarcity, is what I'm saying. But again, I digress. Back to the main point, right? Use them as inspiration, bro. Because frankly, a lot of us don't have. A lot of you maybe watching don't have inspirations in your life. A lot like I did, or like proper role models. So I advise you to use them as inspiration. And if you see like their movies and stuff like that, then use them as a way of sort of cultivating a great character that adds on to the common good. Now, don't necessarily watch someone who's, I guess, like a villain that's contributing to the greater evil, because the goal is, again, this could be interpreted in crazy ways, right? Use characters as inspiration. It's like, what kind of characters? Well, characters that, if you were to take characteristics of theirs and adopt them as your personality because you find that character relatable, or or an inspiration to some degree, then you would be tilting the world into more of a positive direction by adopting those values. Does that make sense? So you create that positive ripple effect within your community that then leads to other communities and then pushes the world more towards a positive direction. So I think that's what that should be there, and that's why a lot of movies are there. That's what they're there for, to inspire you to hopefully be able to do that for you. So don't let that childlike aspect of you kind of die out, just because someone deemed it unworthy or cringe, or society deemed it childlike. It's like that does not make any sense. These are the same people that rot in the same jobs that they don't even really care about, and they just, they're miserable, bro. They're miserable. Like, you think the money is what separates individuals and the status. It's like, yes, it does in terms of like their hierarchies and stuff, but the individuals themselves are just like us. They're just like us. They have the same problems and stuff. So I think it all comes down to finding like your true purpose, which is why a lot of these inspirational movies, and which is why a lot of these superhero movies in specific, like for example for Transformers for me and Spider-Man for me, that's why we find them so inspiring, is because like we see someone who's like willing to die to pursue their purpose and do something like heroic for the sake of the greater good, right? And I think that's why it lights something in us to do something similar as well. And when you're a kid, you want to be more like them in like a physical sense, in a superhero sense, and you might still want to be that, and I think that's fine. But it's like, I think what you take from that is that you can assimilate a level of their character into the real world and actually still have that level of impact without having like superpowers or things like that, right? So yeah, don't let these people lie to you. Don't let these people tell you it's a waste of time. I think it's perfectly fine, as long as, again, just make sure you take action. Make sure you're actively trying to go out of your way to find what it is that your purpose is. What is the immediate thing that you like doing right now that would serve you in the long term? Maybe it's boxing, maybe it's going to the gym, maybe it's starting a business, maybe it's focusing on your studying, something that is that actually you hold a value right now that'll serve the greater good. What is that right now? You don't have to find your grandiose purpose like we all think of, the visualization of us all looking at the stars and finding our grand purpose. It's like, that's going to take time. Even I don't really know if that I have found mine, not even close maybe, right? So it just takes time. Take action. Use them as inspiration. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.